I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for this weekend's newest release, or one of two Valentine's Day new releases, Love Hurts. So, it is directed by Jonathan Escobar. What is the plot of Love Hurts? Well, a realtor, played by Ke Huy Quan, is pulled back into the life he left behind after his former partner in crime resurfaces with an ominous message. His crime lord brother also on his trail, he has to confront his past and the history he never fully buried. Yeah. So, how was Love Hurts actually made? Well, it was around January 2024 when an action film titled that was originally titled at the time with Love was in development. And Luke Passmore, Josh Stoddard, and Matthew Murray would be writing the screenplay, and the lead role would be played by Ke Huy Quan, who is now been getting roles again ever since he won an Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and that film really revived his career. Principal photography began on April 1st in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and it wrapped on May 17th, 2024. Then, around March, around that same time, they confirmed that Ariana DeBois would be joining the cast, and then of course in April the next month, some more cast members like Daniel Wu, Marshawn Lynch, Mustafa Shakir, Cam Gajanit, Andra Eskin, and Lip Tipton would join the cast of the film. And, in October 2024, it was retitled to Love Hurts. And also, there would even be a brief appearance by Ke Huy Quan's Goonies co-star Sean Astin would be joining the cast. So, after Love Hurts was pretty much shot and limitedly advertised, Love Hurts would be released in the United States this weekend on February 7th, 2025, a week before Valentine's Day. And, well, the shocking thing is, apparently critic websites are really bashing this film. And that's kind of weird because, and I honestly don't think it deserves it. It's not, because I'll say my reaction first before I get to that stuff. Because, as my reaction, this was the first hyped enough film of 2025 for me because I do like Ke Huy Quan is back in doing films again after the success of Everything Everywhere All at Once, and also seeing a Valentine's Day themed action movie as well, because we don't really get a lot of Valentine's Day themed films, really. So this was kind of surprising to see, and I saw the bad reviews and got worried. But I then saw the film last night, and how was it? Well, I know people are hoping I'll destroy the movie. Those who hate the movie are probably going to think I'm going to be destroying the film and want me to destroy the film. But if I'm going to be honest here, I thought it was an average time waster. I didn't think it was really that bad as many critic websites were making it out to be. And besides, I don't give a shit what Rotten Tomatoes says. They're full of hacks. Rotten Tomatoes is a stupid website. I don't give a shit about critic websites. I don't give a shit about that stuff. I prefer to form my own opinion on stuff. Whether if I like a bad reviewed movie, then I like a bad reviewed movie. But if I hate a good reviewed movie, then I simply hate it. For quite a lot of good reasons. And I honestly thought this was better than a lot of worse blockbusters that I think actually are overrated. I thought it was better than critic websites made it out to be. Now, was it a really, really great movie? Yeah, okay, no. Not really, but the thing is, though, this movie still had fun moments. The story was nice and simple, and it wasn't trying to be some over 3 hour long epic, and it was just trying to have a simple runtime. Granted, I feel like maybe a few more minutes could have been added to the film, like maybe then the film would have been a little stronger. I guess I could see if people are criticizing the film being too short, then I can't see where they're coming from on that thing. Like maybe 90 minutes would have been fine. Like the movie's like 83 minutes long. Like I feel like 90 minutes or 88 minutes would have been better. But it was a fun time waster. Like it kind of really this movie actually kind of felt it really kind of felt like I was watching some simpler action films from like the 80s or the 90s. It kind of felt like somewhat like that a little bit. And the movie does kind of, like I mentioned, the movie does go by a little bit too quickly. Like, the thing is, like, maybe, like, tell a bit more backstory about Ke Huy Quan's character's past, or maybe expand on some scene, like, prove some more scenes with him and Ariana DeBois, and maybe, like, try to establish them, or stuff, and flesh their scenes out a little more, and I feel like that stuff was missing. Like, I think 90 minutes would have been fine. I wish it was 90 minutes long. And, well, and also some other stuff I'll get to later. But it's kind of a one-of-a-kind movie that has charm that may not be for everyone. Like, it's definitely a film that will get a kick out of Ke Huy Quan fans, and an interesting and simpatico characters, of course. And of course, like, when this film was being made, apparently Ke Huy Quan actually put a lot of prep time to build himself up for this physical role, or this was like a first-time director who was also known for stunt work and actually tackled a feature. Like ever since John Wick came out, there's quite a few stunt work people that have actually been going on to direct films ever since John Wick was a big success, and also pretty much okay with a Valentine's Day themed action movie. We don't get those a lot. We don't really get a lot of Valentine's Day themed genres. Unless it's romance or rom-coms. We had like My Bloody Valentine for horror, and recently we have a new horror flick called Heart Eyes, but that was it. Like, I never really seen much of I haven't seen a lot of Valentine's Day themed action films. If there are any Valentine's Day themed action films, tell me down in the comments below. If there are any, which ones I should check out. The biggest draw to this, the Ke Huy Quan's easily the biggest draw to the movie, and easily the top best part of the film. Like, this guy went from a beloved 80s kid star in films like The Goonies and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and a recent Oscar winner when he finally got his comeback with Everything Everywhere All at Once. And this one, he's really giving it his all, like both acting and action-wise. And definitely a very great performance. Like, he really made Marvin Gamble someone you actually root for no matter what. Like, everyone else in the movie does pretty well as well. Like, I don't think any of the cast was really bad. I mean, Ariana DeBois, now, some people really criticize her, but she may not have been the best of the cast members, but she was not bad. Like, they didn't make this female lead all bitchy, or they didn't make her all rude, they didn't make her generic, like, they didn't make her generic love interest. They actually made her feel more like, kind of like a character, in a way. Like, maybe some stuff with her could be a little improved, maybe some improved writings, maybe some more scenes of her, and stuff, like, maybe establish some more scenes with her and Marvin, and stuff. I think that's just the stuff that's missing, like, other than a few lines that could be a little less over the top. Like, she still brought a bit of a fun presence to the movie as well. And of course, the other big sell, like, the action. Like, the action was definitely great. And director Jonathan Esbio, who did stunt coordination and helped out with John Wick, and really made the fights a joy in every situation. Like, the camera's not over shaky and all over the place, and it is pretty steady for most of the film, and it does work in a way that kind of makes the fights feel chaotic while still maintaining a clear sense of what is going on. And there's some unique set pieces to the fights too, and of course, like the weaponry by the Raven, aka Mustafa Shakir's character, who, honestly, when I saw this character, there were also some problems I had with him, but the actor actually did pretty good for the character. When I saw this actor's performance, you know, when they did that shitty Mufasa movie, why couldn't this actor play Scar in that film? Why couldn't, yeah, like why couldn't this guy be the voice of Scar or something? With if they were gonna recast the whole Lion King remake, like I don't know why this guy should have just played Scar, or even just played Scar in the Mufasa movie. I feel like sure the character would still not be very well written, but I feel like he wouldn't have been too bad. I feel like he would have been a better choice than T'Challa from Doctor Strange, who is better in that film and better in 12 Years a Slave, but was really not a good choice for Scar. But now, how does our movie start off? Well, we start off with our main character, Marvin Gabel, who's a successful real estate agent who got awarded the highest honor by his boss, friend, and mentor, Cliff Kazik. And when we first meet him, like, he's going with some narration, he sees some signs of his have been vandalized with, like, goatees or mustaches and stuff. So it's kind of a funny way to meet our first character. Like, he's a successful real estate person, and he often gets accompanied by this depressed assistant Ashley who wants to quit her job. And when we first meet Marvin, he's actually a pretty likable character. He gives handing out Valentine's cookies to his staff members, and like, yeah, this guy's already likable when you first meet him. There, and Cliff Cusick, his boss, is the character who's played by Sean Astin, and it was definitely nice seeing both these characters from the Goonies actually reuniting these years later as adults and actually sharing this one scene they have together. It kind of feels like, it really does feel like they're having that reunion ever since they did the Goonies together back in 1985 and stuff. And it's also nice to see Sean Astin in a role again, because he would pretty much disappear for a while, where he did fame with the Goonies, and he really got recognition with Samwise Gamgee in the Lord of the Rings movies. But then after that trilogy ended, he kind of went on and did some Sandler flicks like 50 First Dates and Click, and then he just did a lot of direct-to-video roles other than that. So it was definitely nice to see him do a theatrical release again. And definitely really liked seeing these two on screen together again. Like, there was another thing I had. I wish these two had a little more time on screen together. But that's going to be saved for later. So Ashley wants to quit her job, though, even though Marvin gives pep talks, and they do have some pretty decent scenes together where he actually is kind of a good boss, and also, like, even this Ashley character's not rude either and stuff, and is much more mature about wanting to quit. And we find out though, Marvin secretly was this former assassin for this company that's literally called The Company, that was run by his brother Alvin Knuckles Gabel. Marvin was supposed to be eliminating younger assassin Rose after a botched job, but because he loved her a lot, he told her to run instead before he chose to leave his old life behind. So right there, and that's another thing that makes Marvin a great character, like, and stuff. Like, besides leading the action, the story is pretty light, and the trailer's hook was definitely interesting. Like, there's not much going on in the plot, save for, like, a minor subplot that just is not really expounded upon, but it had a nice little payoff for all the little details throughout. And it works in the movie's favor as this quick little 80-minute action flick. But I could see those who were hoping for a little more substance would probably be a little disappointed in the film, but I like that the story was actually a little more simple and knew what it just wanted to tell. It wasn't trying to be some, like, big epic. It was just trying to be a harmless, time-wasting, turn-off-your-brain action film. Like, at 83 minutes, like, it knew when to wrap things up and not overstay its welcome. And with the short runtime, like, the pacing maybe a little uneven at times, but it was still fine. And there's a bit of unbalance with action and drama. Like, in the middle part of the film, there's some repetitive dialogues that do stretch out the story, and it did have the opportunity of introducing more subplots, but it just kind of chose not to. That was one of the things I was missing, and it left some moments kind of dragged out and not really dynamic, but not like overly too dragged out. At least still paced them kind of well. And another kind of frustration is that the film does tease an interesting character, but it cuts away when things kind of get exciting, and when you expect kind of this intense game-changing sequence, like, it just kind of gets skipped entirely. Like, it's kind of like the case of tell, don't show, and that was also kind of a bit of a missed opportunity, but I wouldn't say it makes the film bad for me. This stuff doesn't make the film bad for me because there's still things that make the film kind of decently stream-worthy, enjoyable. Like, Ke Huy Quan does bring a very fresh thing to the action star. Like, he wasn't the action genre. Like, this one, he's not your typical tall, muscular action star. Like, he nails this role that really feels cheeky and authentic. Like, this quick, agile, and entertaining to watch. Like, this character's not trying to be another John Wick or something. He's just trying to be a completely different character. And the plot armor is very strong. And the film acknowledges that his character he's playing, Marvin Gabel, is human and has to take hits and get knocked down and even bleeds. And it adds believability to his fights and really makes the fights more engaging. So, after we find out about Marvin, it's the present time around Valentine's Day, and there's a letter from Rose. Then he gets confronted by this knife assassin and poetry obsessed named Raven, Mustafa's character. He got hired to demand the whereabouts of Rose, and Marvin immediately knocks him out and then leaves his office, and then he goes back home to get his stains, but then two agents named King and Otis who there's some funny moments between them, I'll admit that. There's subplot involving one of them's girlfriend that he's trying to reconnect with, but more on that later. But this is one of our first fights of the movie where Marvin manages to fight against the two before he gets captured by Rose and takes him back to her hideout at a strip club, and then Ashley sees Raven in Marvin's office and also sees his poetry. After reading this poem that he secretly has, she then immediately does fall in love with him, and he admires her appreciation for his work, and then like one big problem I did have with the film, like it was nice to see Sean Astin again, like I said, but this also served as a bit of a problem as why I wish his character actually played more of a role, where Cliff went to Marvin's house because Marvin had borrowed his car, and Cliff needs his car back, so he goes there, and he gets confronted by Knuckles, who tells him Marvin's former lifestyle, but the thing is, though, like, with a scene like this, you'd expect Cliff to get mad and feel betrayed and lied to. No. That's actually, don't do that. Like, I like they actually don't really do that thing. Cliff is actually proud of Marvin's efforts to change or redeem himself. So I like they actually did something a little refreshing with a scene like this. Like, I wish more scenes would try to do a little something like this. Like, it's not some big liar revealed. It's like, I like that Cliff was actually supportive of Marvin's efforts to redeem himself. But then the problem comes when Knuckles gives him this drink and then kills Cliff with a straw when he declares that they're brothers, and like this, like that, I did not like they killed him off, man. I don't think you really needed to kill Cliff off. Like, Cliff should have been more of a character in the film, and like I would have liked to see him and Kim and Marvin actually teaming up in the final fights. Like, that would have actually been pretty epic. Like, they just kind of did Sean Astin's character really dirty after like his first scene. That I definitely did not. That was definitely a big criticism I have of the film. Like, but there's actually funny moments. Like, there's other moments that are meant to be, like, there's some funny moments in the film as well. And right, like the beginning of the movie and the third act are great, and the middle of the movie's a little stilted. Some exposition does feel a little forced at times. Ariana DeBois was, despite some of the problems I have a bit with her character, she brings plenty of energy as the partner in crime, and like she's witty, charming, and pretty self-serving in an entertaining way possible. She is chaotic, but not like Harley Quinn levels of chaotic, and kind of more of this playful, opportunistic wild card, and does add a bit of layer of fun to the film, despite the fact that there's not a lot really done with her character. It makes her scenes a bit of a highlights. Like, now for the action. It is epic, it's not like Nobody or John Wick levels of brutal, but it's still pretty brutal enough to satisfy action fans. Like, there's some good little action scenes where when we first meet, like, the two assassins that attack Marvin in his home, the fight between them throughout the kitchen where Marvin, like, battles them with cookie cutters, or Ursula Ward accidentally goes in the microwave and the microwave gets turned on, he immediately takes it out and puts it in the fridge to cool down before the two assassins empty the fridge and they try to stuff Marvin in it, but then Marvin escapes and jumps over really high fences to escape. And like, there's even a subplot with the two assassins where one of them's trying to reconnect with his girlfriend. They stop at this place on their way to pursue Marvin, and then it turns out one of them's beating up this guy and steals his teddy bear, and one of them just doesn't take him seriously and like, really? We went to this place just so you could steal a teddy bear? For nothing? Like, it makes him give the teddy bear back to the guy, and so at least like these two are not willing to kill random innocent people for no reason, and in a way they're just going after their one target, and or even like that one also tries to call his girlfriend on the phone before they go to find Marvin in this listing home he's hiding out at with Rose, and he makes us call to his girlfriend like, I have to kill a few people, and the guy that's just not taking him seriously just eye rolls like, that was forced. So I did like this. So yeah, that little bit does kind of get a laugh out. Those two did get a laugh out of me. That I did like their scenes. Like, the choreography is slick, and it's got that kind of kick-ass feel to it, like the 2010 film Kick-Ass, and the fights blend both realism and over-the-top action. Like, not every fit lands perfectly, not every move is executed flawlessly, but the imperfection does actually add to the charm. Like, that's the thing though. With this movie, like, it's clear that the filmmakers didn't care they didn't really care much about, like, story-wise. Like, it was just not trying to be some big story, like, in a way, like, it was just trying to be, like, a nice little decent action film. It's like the filmmakers kind of acknowledged that right there, and didn't really care if the reactions would be good or bad. Like, the first part of the movie's choreography is slapstick, but then, of course, it still has the suspense of disbelief, and it tightens up, and definitely becomes a lot more dialed. And so after Rose captures Marvin. Rose tells Marvin that she came to collect this insurmountable degree of information on Knuckles' frequent money laundering, and it's revealed that he had been cheating several partners, and even captures accountant Kippy Betts. That Rose had actually been coercing with Knuckles' right-hand man, Penny Merlo, who planned to double-cross her for fear of Knuckles finding out. Then Rose plans to use Kippy's information to take down Knuckles, and wants Marvin to return to his old ways to help her out. So, the two go to hide one of the houses that Marvin's planning to sell. A couple that, like, Marvin had previously spoke to who are going to buy the house, and if he's forced to finalize his work with them, then, of course, like, during this bit, Rose captures this one guy, and it turns out the tape that taped his mouth shut actually pulls out two of his teeth as well, and then, like, after getting some information on him the next day, like, Marvin then gives him these, like, painkillers while he's still tied to the chair. Then, of course, then the couple come to buy that house, and so he has to finalize his work with them. Like, Rose tries to tell him not to open the door, but Marvin doesn't want to leave his realtor life behind, so he still lets them in, and still, because, like, he doesn't want to rip off the couple. Clearly, like, still wants to sell, still wants to be true to his word, and not try to go be dishonest, and because this guy's actually still very likable. I like he's not willing to cheat his own customers, even if he has to kind of be on the run, like, take out this assassin. Like, he's still trying to keep true to his word as well. So, like, he's not dishonest. It's another great thing about him. And so he contacts Ashley, asks that she bring the papers, but he's not aware that Raven is with her, and that Ashley's actually quitting for that reason alone. Like, right there, she's clearly trying to meet her, like, little quit thing right there this time, because actually clearly Raven is there, and it's for clearly trying to care about Marvin's safety. But Kippy escapes, like, the guy that was tied there and lost his two teeth. He contacts Rennie, and he orders King Otis to come as well. They're like, the movie know what it wants to be. It's this fun comedy with a lot of action, and that's what you get. Like, I still enjoyed the fight scenes. Like, it's good. Yeah, I enjoyed the fight scenes as well. Like, I still enjoyed them. Sure, they weren't, like, epic fight scenes, but they were still very enjoyable, fun fight scenes. And, like, they did get a laugh out of me, too. Like the opening scene where they're in the house, or where if King and Otis are at the house, or even that, or when Marvin has to escape by climbing those fences, and they think he's some kind of spider or something. There, and, of course, like, the final fight scene's also pretty epic. I can definitely admit that. Like, there's even some deeper elements with the film. Like, the main plot of Marvin's tale holding elements, like, it turns much more, like, tuned with character growth or reflections of his past life. And it's spiritual, it's meditative, and it's pretty much this relevant character that's looking for happiness. And finding it means that, like, many characters don't quite match up in other films. Like, one character does have a bit more bite to them as well, like not just the secondary characters, but also the ones whose subplots are pretty anchor away from the violence that's the main plot, and it's all in line with the spirit of the fun. The actors really managed to be very fun and immersed in the movie. And though, like, right there, so I don't think I really saw a single bad performance. So Love Hurts, I did like the expansion into tributaries to help provide some balance. Like, the movie's definitely kind of feels like it's really about love, it's about brothers and friends, and it even couples this love for each other, like with Raven and Ashley's subplot that didn't really go anywhere, but it's not like an over melodramatic, depressing movie. It's smart, it's short, and the dialogues are pretty much defining every character that make them somewhat lovable. You know, when it comes to Marvin's little former life, like, it's kind of the movie that last year's Argyle tried to do, and that movie just fucking failed. That film was dog shit in every way, and it just felt embarrassing to watch. This movie kind of does that with Marvin's character, except it's much more simple. It actually feels like it has a reason to be there. It's not over 2 hours long with some stupid filler scenes I don't give an ass about. No CGI pets that just feel like the main stars of the movie more, and or trying to rip off comedies like The Lost City, which did that writer plot much better than Argyle did. Like, this film is like trying to be its old self, and this film is just trying to be a lot more simple, not too convoluted. If you know what I'm saying. That's what I liked. Right there. And so, now we get on with the finale, where Rose ends up leaving the house because she's off to confront Knuckles, and Raven, Ashley, Otis, and Ken arrive there as well. A fight breaks out. Pretty much at that whole place, a fight breaks out, and Jeff Saxon arrives, who's this rival of Marvin that actually knows martial arts, and at first, like, it seems like they are going to kind of team up and settle their differences, which I also would have loved to see in this scene, but then he just gets taken out quick with just a gunshot to the head, and then he's just out for the rest of the film. He's just gone. Like, I would have also liked, I kind of would have liked to see these two kind of settle their differences for this bit and actually kind of team up. This actually could have been a pretty epic fight, but this rival just gets taken out as soon as he arrives. So it's just kind of does feel like a bit of a cop-out. But then, of course, Marvin and Raven, they team up and they take out Otis and King. They don't kill them, they just knock them out because they appear again at the end. Then Ashley insists, though, that Marvin and Raven cease their fight, though, because she's in love with Raven. And so, Marvin is inspired by this, so he goes after Rose to Knuckles' hideout. And then he finds Rose there, and they take out Knuckles, and Merlot gets killed, and Marvin has, like, one final fight with Knuckles. And, of course, Marvin is victorious in the fights, and then we find out that Rose actually contacted the Russian gangsters that Knuckles had cheated, and it results in them coming and taking him away. It's like, you know what's going to clearly happen to Knuckles is these Russian guys are going to take him, and they're going to kill him off, they're going to torture to show him and kill him off screen. They get payback for stabbing them in the back and lying to them. So these Russian guys are going to kill him. As pretty much payback for double-crossing him multiple times. Then, Marvin ends up declaring his love for Rose, and he embraces his past and his future. Right there. And though you do get a bit of a montage where Ashley and Raven are now a couple, and Ken and Otis, or the one that's trying to reconnect with his girlfriend, actually finally succeeded this time, and because he gets a text back saying they want to reconnect, but the thing is, though, you hear police sirens in the background, so they probably might not get to do that, because Ken and Otis are going to obviously go to jail for breaking and entering. They're probably going to go to jail. So, but hopefully she reconnects with that one while he's in prison. So hopefully, like, she can still visit him, and maybe she could still visit him in prison or something like that, or maybe she'll bail him. Maybe she could bail him out, and maybe he bail, or maybe bail one of them or both of them out, or then he can leave that crime life behind, and maybe that could have been shown, like, as well, like, they're like just me though. And then Marvin now declares his love for Rose, and now embracing his past and the life he's living. And another thing we could have saw too is like that couple that Marvin's gonna sell the house to. Maybe off screen they still buy the house and Marvin fixes the house and you get a call saying, we still want to buy, no, we still, despite what we saw, we still want to buy that house. Like maybe that could have also been in there, like, in a way, and I feel like that too could have also been there, but the movie does end like simple, like that. At least Marvin now embraces his past life and now embraces the current life he's living. He's now in love with Rose, and Ashley and Raven are now in love, and like maybe Raven will get along more with Marvin after that, and maybe they'll become pals-ish. So yeah, it's a nice little simple ending. Even if it's a little bit too short. I feel like it kind of wraps the story kind of well. It doesn't overdrag, and it just knows when it wants to end, and just like that. Now, do I have bad qualities? I mean, the film is averagely good quality, but even I would have some criticisms with it. Sean Astin's like only scenes, like it's his first scene where him and Ke Huy Quan are sharing their time together in that office is actually a very nice scene. It's definitely nice seeing these two working together again after nearly like 40 years since the Goonies. Since they worked together in the Goonies. And hopefully after this, I would like to see a film where actually Quan and Josh Brolin work together again, because Josh Brolin played Sean Astin's older brother in that film. I would like to see a film with those two again, and no, not a Goonies sequel. We don't need a sequel to the Goonies. I don't know why Warner Bros. Thinks we need a sequel to that film at all. And if they were going to make a sequel to the Goonies, then they should have did it in 1989 or something like that, not now, when they're all grown up. And if they badly want to do a sequel so bad, they should have did it then. But, I want to actually see an original film with Ke Huy Quan and Josh Brolin working together. I'd like to see that instead. That would be kind of cool. But right there, it was nice seeing that scene, but I hated the next scene Sean Astin appeared in because then he just dies. The bad guys just kill him in his next scene. Same with the rival too. They just get killed off and they're after their one appearance. So their characters just kind of get played dirty. I kind of would have liked to see Marvin and the rival maybe settling their differences and maybe teaming up in this whole thing. That it could have made the fight scene cool, and I would have liked to see all three of them teaming up in the finale and stuff. Actually Sean Astin plays more of a role that I kind of wanted to see happen. That's just me though, but I feel like that would have been a lot more epic than just killing both those characters off and just doing them dirty. Right there, because that just bring those two in just to kill them off, just kind of a cop-out. And also, as like that it's trying to be more simple, but like I said before in the beginning, I feel like the movie should have been 90 minutes long. Maybe expand a bit more on Marvin and Rose's screen time together, and see slightly more of Marvin's past and his time as an assassin, or how he chose to be a realtor instead. Yeah, we see that in the movie, but maybe kind of see a little bit more of the past scenes where he was an assassin back then. Maybe some more of the flashback scenes too. And this minor subplot with Ashley and Raven, it doesn't really go much anywhere else, so I don't feel like you really needed a subplot with those two. That's also just me though, but other than those, Love Hurt, yeah, it's not great, I understand that, but I honestly had a decent time watching it, and sure, maybe it's it might not end up being on my favorite movies of the year list at the end of the year, but it's a film I think I'm still willing to revisit when I just want to watch a film where I turn off my brain to kind of enjoy. A simple film like that. I wish we could have some more simple stories like this in this era. So in the end, I would honestly just stream Love Hurts because it really isn't that bad as some would make this movie out to be. It's a film that, it's there, it's a nice time waster if you want a short, simple action movie. And if you're also happy to see Ke Huy Quan in roles again, but don't expect something grand. Anyways guys, that's it for my view of Love Hurts. If you're hungry to rank Love Hurts, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you are a fan of Ke Huy Quan, or are looking for a nice simple action movie around the 80-minute mark, then you're definitely going to get that here. And I would just stream this one, though, because it isn't really anything new or special. And for any hungry Love Hurts, I'm going to give Love Hurts a 6 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. That wraps up my review for Love Hurts. Now, I want to know in the comments down below what you guys thought about Love Hurts, whether you also thought this movie wasn't that bad, or whether you actually thought this movie was also as bad as many review websites made it out to be, or just don't have interest in watching the film. But until then, guys, that will be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this and want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.